Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and I'm pleased and honored to have with me in the studio Craig Aaron, the president and CEO of Free Press, freepress.net, arguably one of the most effective groups out there lobbying the Federal Communications Commission on behalf of all the rest of us for a free and open internet. Craig, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate the endorsement, and I guess today I'll even take it because we had a really big day at the Federal Communications Commission, frankly a historic day, voting for real net neutrality, strong protections for the open internet, and really striking a blow to the most powerful phone and cable companies in this country in a victory that was, to be honest, unthinkable 6 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, right, that we'd have a day where an institution like the FCC, historically so corrupted, such a creature of industry, would do a vote like this, a companion vote on municipal broadband, and actually get a standing ovation from the audience in the middle of a government meeting. I mean, that does not happen every day. It happened today at the FCC, and it's really been an incredible victory, all driven by grassroots activism. No big corporations behind it, groups organizing, collaborating, coordinating inside and outside of Washington to make this happen.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. And this, I think the biggest message here, and I want to talk with you about what net neutrality means and what actually happens so that people will have the language for when their crazy right-wing uncle who watches Fox News says, oh my God, Obama just socialized the internet. What's the rebuttal to that? But also, it seems to me that the big carry-home is what you just pointed out, that, up against hundreds of millions of dollars of television advertising, lobbying, campaign contributions, buying the political system as aggressively as Comcast and all these other companies could do it, people power beat them.
People power beat them. That is the story here. That may not be the story as it's written in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, where they're finding companies to give credit to. Oh, it's all the president. No, right. The story here, I wrote a piece about this in the Huffington Post today, is all about the activism and the organizing that's been going on throughout this year and frankly for 10 years to put this issue on the map and to talk directly to internet users using the free and open internet while we had it. About the dangers of what was happening and recognizing that, they hate their cable company for a reason. They hate the phone company for a reason because they're taking a lot of their money and they don't want them deciding, which websites are going to work or which won't, picking and choosing what services or apps will perform the best. They want to be in control of the internet themselves. That's a message that's really resonated with people. And there are a lot of groups, all across the country, Demand Progress, Fight for the Future, Daily Coast, FF, so many Credo. That have stood Credo Action, absolutely, who's been fighting this, with us for 10 years. Yeah. Move On, Credo Action, Free Press. We were the ones trying to make anybody care about this back in 2005 or 2006. Yep. This year, 4 million people contacted the FCC on an issue like net neutrality, and that got the attention of the White House, that got the attention of the FCC, and I think it did show that organized people can still beat organized money. I'm stealing from Saul Alinsky there, but I think it's true. I think we proved that here, and I think it can be a model for efforts going forward, certainly to defend victory, but actually go on the offense for once. We did a bad thing from happening. We actually got together and improved public policy, which is
an amazing thing. It is a truly amazing thing.
Doesn't happen every day.
So let's role play this, Craig. Freepress.net, and I'm cranky Uncle Tom who watches Fox News all day. Well, I guess that socialist Obama has finally sold out the internet to Hugo Chavez.
I feel like you've been reading my inbox.
No, seriously. I get these calls too. So how do you respond?
These are the lightest touch regulations, and the thing that people have to understand is there are going to be rules, there are going to be regulations. The only thing that matters is who are those rules going to benefit? Right. Are they going to benefit the average internet user, or are they going to benefit a handful of big companies? People all across the country, conservative, liberal, they're tired of paying too much for their monthly cable bill. They want to be able to go online and pick and choose for themselves what they're going to watch, what they're going to read, what they're going to do. That's all net neutrality is protecting. That's what net neutrality is protecting. And, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's been a lot of money spent.
Let's put out the positive information. What does Title II mean?
So Title II, very simply, is the part of the Communications Act that governs telecommunication services or two-way communication services. Our ability to have a conversation from one end of the phone to the other or one end of the internet to the other. And the important parts of Title II, the parts that were preserved today, are things like non-discrimination. Can't discriminate against a site or service because you don't own it or they won't pay you extra. No blocking. Title II also allows consumers to file complaints. So if they have a problem with their cable company, they can actually ask the FCC to do something about it. And really,
now we know why the most hated company in America is
that's really about it. And all the FCC is doing here is restoring its authority because they themselves messed it up during the Bush years. They changed how the internet was, or broadband rather, internet access was treated under the law. And they then lost the ability to stop Comcast when it was caught blocking lawful file sharing, to step in when AT&T started trying to charge its customers extra voice minutes if they wanted to use FaceTime on their phone, which, by its definition means not using voice minutes. And, it's what's going to prevent them going forward from favoring their own content and services over that of a competitor. So if you're an independent content producer, it doesn't matter if you're conservative, if you're a progressive, you don't want your listeners to be trying to come in and listen to the Thom Hartmann show, get that spinning wheel of death and a little message that says, sorry, this isn't available right now, but we can get you Rush Limbaugh right away.
Yeah, and
that's what we have to. That's what we're trying to get out in front of. Not to mention, nickel and diming you for every little thing. Oh, Facebook post, we're going to charge you an extra 10 cents. Right. Now you can get, Comcast book. That'll be free, but if you want Facebook, you're going to have to pay extra. Or, sorry, Netflix isn't available anymore, but we found some lovely selections that we've pre-selected for you that you can watch at a high speed anytime. That's not the way the internet's worked ever. It's always been a place where you can go online, you got a good idea, something important to say, you can find that audience, you compete with the New York Times, you can compete with Fox News, right. And we don't want to lose it.
It's always nice when you're explaining things to people to use stories, and because we live and die by stories. And the story that I've been telling people is that prior to today, the way the internet had been regulated or unregulated, essentially, it was possible, and certainly with the new rules that Republicans are proposing, it would be possible for Comcast or any other internet service provider to essentially listen into my conversation, to notice what I'm doing on the internet, to look at which websites I'm visiting, and then based on whatever their particular criteria is, decide to deliver some of those to me faster, some of those to me slower, or even to charge me for some of those for access to them. And what the Telecommunications Act says is you can't do that with a telephone. The phone company can't listen in on the conversation and say, oh, he's talking to his mom. We'll call that a residential rate. Oh, he's talking to Craig Aaron. Right. That must be business. We're gonna double the price for this particular phone call. They can't do that. That's illegal. It's a common carrier. And similarly with the internet now, they can't listen into our internet activity and charge us based on that.
That's basically right. And I mean, when you think about it, when you're talking to crazy Uncle Tom about how this is some takeover, these are the same kind of rules in some ways that did apply to the phone networks in the same way, which is that, no one can listen in on your phone, the content of your phone conversation, but there are rules in place to make sure that those phone conversations actually get connected. Right. And you can actually reach your family. If you're calling your family, if you're calling the president, whatever it is, it goes through. That's really the key.
In the minute we have left, is there anything in this that would allow for or promote the idea of ISPs being required to allow other ISPs to offer their product or services through their pipes, the way it is in Europe?
This did not push forward, true open access regulations.
And this is where the phone companies
These are things used to be. That's right. These guys still don't have to share their wires, and that's one of the reasons this is so important. Is because since they don't have to do that, we don't want them messing with the content either. Right. But there are larger conversations to have. We're going to have to defend this rule in Congress. But I think we have to look at it. Back in the dial-up era, you had 10, 15 different choices for your internet service, and prices went down. Right now, cable prices, they only go up, up, and up some more. We have to look at that. Today, though, we know that at least they're not going to actually be nickel and diming us more and interfering with our content.
There you go. And we had actually thousands of them. It was amazing. Craig Aaron, freepress.net. Thank you, Craig. Great to have you with us. We'll be back 15 minutes past the hour.